All right, welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. We got Tokyo Brandon fresh off his win at the Masters. We were just joking behind the scenes about that. We just learned that the three of us sometimes we come on the show and disagree a little bit, but one thing we see eye to eye on is none of us get the appeal with golf. We just don't get it. Maybe I'm curious to see. Hop in the chat and let us know if you can watch golf or if it's just not for you. I think the three of us are on the same page with that one. But we've got plenty of baseball to talk about today. That's the one nice thing. Golf gets their couple big days a year. We get baseball basically every day. It's always the same. It never fails to deliver. Today we've got Cubs, Phillies. We've got Paul Skeens on the mound in Pittsburgh. So let's bring in the Masters champion, Tokyo Brandon. How was your weekend? I saw you had a huge run going at one point. And why don't you kick us off on Cubs, Phillies, the national TV game tonight on Fox Sports 1.
Sure thing. I was on a 12-0 run, but we're all going to get hot. We're all going to get cold. It's up and down. We're going to make 3,000 bets in a year. You're going to have a 3-game streak, a 3-game losing streak, whatnot. But 12-0 was nice, but now I'm 14-2. So, let's talk about the Cubs. Cubs got, Assad going against Christopher Sanchez. So Christopher Sanchez, he's not quite elite, but he's in the upper echelon of pitchers in Major League Baseball. And right now I have Assad ranked exactly neck and neck with Christopher Sanchez. I know Assad is not as talented as Christopher Sanchez, but having a great year so far. But it's still April, so you got to take those things with a grain of salt. This Phillies bullpen is just lights out, man. I got them ranked number 1 in MLB right now in current form. And I got the Cubs right in the mediocre range. And neither of the team's bats are really smashing right now. They're both pretty sub-mediocre in current form. So looking at this game, I actually made a free play video for WagerTalk's YouTube channel. It's probably going to be uploaded in about an hour or so. And this game's in it. Christopher Sanchez, you guys know I like to do, I like to take pictures face to face and current form and all that. These Cubs batters have gotten to Sanchez in his career. And the first 5 innings is only 1.5 for team total for the Cubs. I think the Cubs can put 2 runs in the first 5 here. Christopher Sanchez is a good pitcher. And he's pitching well to start the season. He's not having a WBC hangover, but man, the Cubs lineup, they are slagging a little right now, but they're too good to be slagging much longer. And I think they can put 2 runs in the first 5. So 1.5 too low for me. I'll take the over in that.
Well, TB, if you subscribe to the theory that maybe there's some carryover, and we'll bring in Bryan Leonard here. Yesterday, Bryan, the Cubs were staring a 3-game sweep at the hands of the Pirates right in the face, right? Down 5-0 in that game. Going into the 7th inning, they were still behind, and they get the big hit. And they end up putting 7 runs on 10 hits up, with a lot of that offense coming in the final 3 innings. So, I don't hate the look from TB where, like, hey, maybe this cold offense wakes up, they get a walk-off hit. They were clearly fired up. You could tell. You could tell they badly wanted that win. They needed that win. They couldn't get swept at home by the Pirates, and they avoid the sweep. Javier Assad is a guy he caught a stray from me a couple weeks ago, Bryan, where I said, Cade Horton out, Matt Boyd out, Javier Assad in your rotation's not looking good. I would agree with that maybe if it's a 4-month thing, but as a stopgap, he's pretty serviceable. He's got 6 different pitches. He can get you through 5 innings. So my question to you, Bryan Leonard, did that win yesterday wake up the Cubs to the point where maybe they have some value here?
Well, you got to keep in mind, the wind was blowing heavily in the first 2 days, and then yesterday was blowing heavily out. So I don't know if we can make any judgments based on the offenses of the 2 teams that played in that game. Assad is a guy, if you take a look at the Cubs starting rotation, you'd say, okay, they got 1 or 2 guys. Boyd has actually been out also. So they are really in trouble for their starting rotation. But Assad has been a guy who, whatever role they put him in, he's been able to kill some innings. And that's really all you want to do when your best players are out. Just absorb those innings, don't hurt your team. And he's been able to do that so far. Sanchez is the much superior pitcher. I have him ranked the fourth best pitcher in Major League Baseball. But that's the only reason I would want anything to do with the Phillies right now is I can't trust the Phillies in this price range. We're looking at 180 to 190 range here, and the Phillies just are not playing well enough for me to want to back them in that regard. So if I'm doing anything, it may be the first 5 innings under, something to that effect, because I think Sanchez will have a good game, but I don't trust their bats. And it's a tough game for me because I'm not a big Assad fan, although the line in this is just too high. Maybe get something in the first 5 and take a look at that, but it probably won't make my card. 2 teams that I have a lot closer in talent than what this line is saying, but I do realize Sanchez is the better pitcher, but not in this 180 to 190 range.
Yeah, Brian, you were all over that this weekend. Pointing out that they were the Phillies were quite overvalued in the series with Arizona. They ended up dropping 2 of 3 in that series. I'll go to Justin in the chat for a second. I think I was the one that says he's more of a triple A starter, but I want to clarify something. Like, he is like the exact veteran that you want in your organization. He's okay. He'll spend a month in Iowa. He won't complain. He's fine with it. Whenever he gets the call, he's ready. But the point I made last week, and I still believe this, and it's going to kind of, I guess make the point on how I feel about the Cubs, is that the Cubs, even right now, as an underdog, are still priced like all weekend. Go back to the Pirates series. They're still priced as a team that a lot of people would look at the prices of those games the last week or so and say, okay, the Cubs are like a premium option. They're they're one of the better teams in the league. And my thought was, there's no way that this team can be that with no Boyd, no Horton. I talked to so many Cubs fans before the season that said, Horton and Cabrera we're going to go as far as they take us. Now you take one of them out. And then Brian, you said, Matthew Boyd, I don't think that's being talked enough about. He may have been the best one. And then to not have him, I'll tell you what, even if Assad gets through this game, if he's still in this rotation 3 weeks from now, I guarantee there's a big crooked number put on him. But I'm with you. I don't know if I can trust the Phillies to do it. And I certainly can't trust them to do it at this price range. So the slightest lean toward the Cubs on the money line, because I do think yesterday may have woke them up a little bit. Hopefully for Tokyo Brandon's sake, they wake up early and get those couple runs early. But this is a tough one. Couldn't really get to the window with this one. TB, I'm going to come back to you. The series over the weekend, the Pirates were so close to a 3-game sweep. And your boy came on the show very early in the season, putting the Pirates in the playoffs. And some of the chat did not agree with me there. And, it's still very early, but they were, when it was 5-0 early yesterday, I'm thinking, wow, the Pirates have a sweep of the Cubs here. That's, I thought they were going to get it done. And even when they didn't get it done, they took 2 of 3 at Wrigley, and now they come home. They're going to be a big favorite against the Nats this whole series. So are you buying the Pirates yet? And as far as tonight is concerned, how are you going to look at Pirates Nats with none other than Paul Skeens on the mound?
Yes, it is Skeens Day. A lot of people in the chat asking about strikeouts. I already put my strikeouts projections on my Twitter X. So take a look, Tokyo _ Brandon. Double play, guys. You can get 2 of us 3 for 3 days. Huge discount. So go to wagertalk.com and grab that. Great promo. We're 3 of the best cappers on earth. So let's take a look at Pittsburgh and Washington. It is a Skeens Day, but I've got Pittsburgh red flagged here. They are the better team. Their bullpen is worlds better, at least performing worlds better. Skeens, I actually have him ranked 15 on a curve of 30, so he has not performed, but that's mostly due to his first game, his opening day game, where he just barfed all over the place. You're not going to see that very often. That's not who he is, and every good pitcher, even Tom Seaver, even Sandy Koufax had a game like that, so I'm not going to count that too much against him, but I do have Pittsburgh red flagged here because they are in a flat spot coming back home from no rest playing yesterday. So it's going to be a flat spot for them, and Pittsburgh actually chronically does not score for Skeens when he pitches. I mean, obviously they're going to sometimes, but generally speaking, they don't score a lot when he pitches. I don't know if it's because they think, oh, we got Skeens, we don't have to, put our balls to the wall today. But I don't know what it is, but generally the scores are lower. I expect an under in this game. I know the line's already pretty low, but Washington's batting better than Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh has a really good bullpen. So anytime I see the stronger lineup against the stronger pitching, it usually means under for me. So I would say under in this. I think the Pirates are going to be a little flat coming home.
Bryan Leonard, is that a Pirates throwback V-neck pullover that I see right there?
It's actually a Brian Giles throwback, and I haven't been able to fit into this thing for years. I met Brian Giles one time in an elevator, and really nice guy. And I didn't realize how small he was. Muscular guy, but short guy. But we hit it off, and so I got him. I've always had a soft spot for the teams that never win. So coming from Cleveland, so
Brian, let me cut you off real quick. Give Brian some props. He's lost a ton of weight, so now he can wear that jersey. Congratulations, man!
Thank you.
Yeah, and not only are you looking good, Brian, but there's just nothing better in my opinion. That black and gold, and then you're at the Pirates ballpark. The view. Maybe I just subconsciously want this team to be good. Maybe that's it. But Brian, I'm looking at this lineup. It's improved. And then I see Marcell Ozuna hitting under 100. I don't think that's going to last all year. I see Connor Griffin, who's probably the next Mike Trout, still only with a 407 OPS at the big league level. Am I crazy to think that this team is really, really good?
They may be. I'm not going to overload it at all. Maybe with you were talking about the designated hitter, maybe he's done. Although, if you take a look at his bad stats, they're better than what he's shown. But Ozuna, he continues to get the at bats right now over the last 14 days, according to Roster Resource. His batting power rank, if they call it, 361st. Overall 367th. He could be the worst hitter in baseball so far this season. That's still getting at bats. His advanced stats show he's a little bit unlucky. His BABIP's bad or whatever, but I don't even know why he's in the lineup. But you take a look at who they've got on the bench: Joey Bart, Nick Gonzalez, Billy Cook, and Jake Mangum. Mangum is a defensive guy with a lot of speed. They don't have anybody to replace him. They had to bring somebody up from the minors, but maybe it's a little too early. They invested some money in him, not a ton of money, but I am a little concerned in this game. I'm looking possibly. I don't play a lot of, in fact, I rarely ever play a first run. Will they score in the first inning? I think they may here. Cavalli's a guy. He's pitching twice this week, so we'll see how it goes. But his numbers have not been as good as what his advanced stats have not been as good as what his numbers have shown. Pittsburgh, you take a look at their lineup. The first three guys in the lineup have been fantastic. I think Pittsburgh may get to him in the first inning today for a run. That may be something I take a look at, and I'm assuming with a total of 7.5, that you're going to get some plus money in that regard. I don't follow it that well. Ralph Michaels is the guy that does that, but that's something I'd be interested in. Washington, I like Washington's hitters. I think these guys do a pretty good job on the season. And that when Washington came into the season, I said I was going to fade the pitching and back the hitting. And if you've done that, you've done pretty well. So let me just play that in the first inning that there will be a run scored, and that's probably what I'll get out of this game. The line's a little bit too high right now for me to want to back Pittsburgh because, to be honest with you, I think the Washington offense is just as good as Pittsburgh's, but Skeens is awful tough.
Brian, I think you may have given out the first year fee on the show, a yes run first inning. Hey, you made a great point. The 1 through 5 in that order right now. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is just on another planet right now, hitting the baseball. Brandon Lau, I mean, so far in the early going, maybe not a more important offseason acquisition to their team than how good Lau has been. Right now, 4 of the top 5 Pirates hitters, Nick York, Ryan O'Hearn, Brandon Lau, O'Neal Cruz, all with a 900 or better OPS. And then you've got guys like Connor Griffin's coming, boys and girls. Like, give him a week or two. That dude is not gonna just like hit 138 in the big leagues all season. And so to go to David, you're crazy if you think this team is really, really great. My question to you is why? Why would I be crazy for that? Look at their pitching. Look at the pitching. We haven't even seen Jared Jones. Brian, when is he going to get back in the mix soon?
It's going to be a while yet.
Okay.
I do want to. You pointed out Pittsburgh top of the order. James Wood right now is the number 1 ranked hitter in baseball the last 7 days, and he's leading off for the Nationals.
And James Wood mashes righties. So
yeah.
You know what? You want to talk about a good prop. Brian gave out the prop of the year so far on Saturday with the call of a Jordan Walker home run. I saw people using boosts on it. Someone hit it at 7-1. Shout out Brian for that call. Jordan Walker from the Cardinals hitting a home run on Saturday when he gave it out in the show. What about James Wood props off of schemes? Since you're going to get like great value, opposing one of the best pitchers in the league.
I will say, by the way, with Pittsburgh's starting staff, they won't let their starters go very long. They have yet to let anybody pitch 100, throw 100 pitches. In fact, I think they average like 88. So keep that in mind when you're playing schemes. You're probably only get 5-6 innings out of them. That'll be the most you get. So keep that in mind when you're looking at those strikeout props and everything else for schemes.
All right, I want to get Tokyo Brandon back in here. This one's right up his alley. We've talked about, so I'm going to go to Garth here. He has a comment. He's donated to the show, so appreciate you, Garth. Let's get his question up on the screen. He says Dodgers money line is -180. Now, Garth's brought this up on this show this year. An alternate way to play some of these big favorites is no bat in the 9th, which is kind of similar to -1.5 in a way, right? Because it's like, with the -1.5, if you're bad, let's put it this way: if you're the Dodgers or the home team and you're batting in the 9th inning, and then you're either tied or trailing, right? So it's sort of another variation of the spread, I suppose. But in this one, you can get away with a 1-run win, so that would be like the difference. So you lose the chance to go San Diego Padres and just hit a walk-off grand slam on back-to-back nights, but you gain being able to get to the 9th, close out a 1-run win. And so Tokyo Brandon, what he's saying is he's going to play Dodgers to not bat in the 9th inning for -135, something you talked about. Find ways to sort of shave 40 or 50 cents off the number, make it a little bit more playable. Mets lineup isn't the same without Juan Soto. You boys were right about that. I maybe have to take an L on that one. I said, they'll platoon, they'll be fine. I think you guys kind of nailed that last week with the Mets really struggling in that series with the Diamondbacks and then again this weekend. So Dodgers, Mets, over to you, Tokyo Brandon. What is Garth on the right track with that Dodgers bet?
Yeah. So a -135, or I'm sorry, not batting the 9th would be basically a regulation win, right? So if it doesn't go in the extra innings and the Dodgers win, you get your money. Today I'm not so sure though, to be honest. The Dodgers are the number 1 hitting team right now in MLB, and the Mets have sunk down to number 20 according to my rankings. But the Mets do everything else better than the Dodgers according to my rankings. Better bullpen, got the Mets ranked 8, got the Dodgers ranked 13. So slightly better, slightly favor to the Mets there. And starting pitcher, I don't think anyone thinks Peter Robelski is better than Peterson. I mean, I don't think he is. It's not a huge gaping gap between these guys, but I don't know. If you've got the better starter and you got the better bullpen, even if you're playing the best lineup in MLB, hands down, I don't know. I think you still got a shot to win it. So I might look elsewhere on this one. I think there are other better favorites to bet the farm on today. Something like the Braves or someone like that, I think has a better shot of winning today than the Dodgers. But hey, I could be wrong. What does Brian think?
Yeah. I like Robleski a little bit better than you do, but I'm in agreement on if I'm playing, I'm taking the Mets. Keep in mind, Edwin Diaz, his velocity's been down. He blew a save on Friday. Ended up getting the victory in that game because of it. When I believe it went into extra innings and they got the win. But from a Dodgers standpoint, the bullpen. So he's probably not going to pitch. Tanner Scott's pitched 2 out of the last 3 days. Vesia 2 out of the last 3 days. Last night, all the guys who pitched long relief have all pitched. In fact, Dryer's pitched 2 out of the last, or actually pitched the last 2 days. So the bullpen situation favors the Mets. The starting pitcher may actually be pretty even in this game. Peterson's a guy that his numbers look a little bit better than what his final results have been. So we got 2 lefties here. We're getting the Dodgers about a 180 favorite. And a lot of people say, well, that's pretty cheap for playing the Dodgers. Well, yesterday the Dodgers was very cheap, and it kept me off of Texas because I love Texas in that game. I didn't think we were getting enough. But Texas gets that victory. Dodgers coming back home here. If I'm playing, I'm taking the Mets in one way or the other, but I'm kind of worried about their offense. The Mets offense has not done well. And if you take a look at, some of the guys they have in it, of course, they get a lot of negativity to Francisco Lindor. He's always gotten off to slow starts. In fact, a lot of players from the southern part of the world aren't used to the cold weather up here, so they always get off to those slow starts. But the only guy in the lineup for the Mets over the last week that's hitting in the top 100 baseball is Bo Bichette at 96. So they are not hitting well right now. Polanco's back from injury, but usually when you come back from injury, it takes a while to get going. Don't trust the Mets offense, so maybe we play something different. It's tough for me to get into this game here. There's other games on the board. Maybe something else to be a better bet.
I'm kind of with both of you. I think the only way I could play it is Mets probably plus 1.5. Take the run. Hope they can just at least keep the game close. I mean, you're the Mets right now. This could get ugly. I mean, they've lost 5 straight games, and they're hitting the road on a road trip that's going to take them to Dodger Stadium and Wrigley Field. That is their 6-gamer that they're playing this week. So if they don't get one of these games at Dodger Stadium early, that's not good. That is not good. I mean, you could, if you don't get one of these first 2, suddenly you're on an 8-game losing streak. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to their season's done in April, but certainly if you lost 9 or 10 in a row that, that's I think we saw it happen to the Braves last year where they could just never get off the mat from that. Go ahead, TV.
No, you can finish your point. I can wait.
Well, that kind of was my point, is that maybe you get just the desperate effort here from the Mets, throw the kitchen sink at the Dodgers, every top reliever. It really feels like they need either this one or tomorrow's just to break up the streak of losing.
I'll tell you what, there's a good prop you can bet in this if you're dying to bet the Dodgers in some way. Pages has been absolutely on fire. As a matter of fact, the end of the Dodgers lineup is batting better than the top of the Dodgers lineup right now. And Pages has in 10 at-bats a 1,500 OPS against Peterson. So if you're going to bet a prop here, Pages would be a good way to bet hits, runs, RBIs. If it's 1.5, I would bet that all day. I haven't looked at it yet, though.
Well, how scary is that, Bryan Leonard? I think you could make a case the Dodgers haven't even really played their best ball or close to it yet, and yet here they are at 11-4. So another reason that
guys aren't hitting. Mookie Betts is out, and their best guys aren't hitting. So
yeah, the entire lineup from 1 through, other than Tucker, who's gone off to a slow start. Well, you've got Ohtani, 33rd, Smith, 91st, 60th for Freeman, 83rd for Muncy, 25th for Pages, 28th for Hernandez, 25th, Pages, 28th. And I really like Alex Freeland, and I saw Kim is in there. He's only come back from the minors, so it'll take him a while to get going. But yeah, that offense is killer.
And I looked over their stats while they were playing yesterday. They don't have one guy under 250. And you'll be hard pressed to find a team in MLB. I know when we were watching back in the day, Brian, 250 was considered average, but today 250 is considered pretty good. And they don't have one guy under 250. Kim is hot on fire. Pajes is on fire. Their 7, 8, 9 are just ripping right now.
Yeah, and just to, the embarrassment of Richards goes on. Since Connor Griffin got called up, the top-ranked hitter at AAA is James Tibbs III.
Yes.
He's also in the Dodgers organization.
So
sounds like a guy who eats Grey Poupon.
Guy's been hitting tanks, and I actually think the Red Sox were the team that gave him up, if I remember correctly. It's I think he came from a trade with the Red Sox. I have to double check that, but or maybe the Giants. So I forget where he came from, but the point is, the Dodgers, not only do they get all the free agents, somehow they fleece you for like your best prospect too. It's really not fair. Brian, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I'm just going to point out that Dalton Rushing would be a starting catcher for just about any other team in the league. He's got 2 games he's played in the last week, and he's torn it up. He's the 41st best hitter in the last 7 days, and he only played in 2 games. They've got a load of players, and if you're a Dodgers fan, you're just loving this decade of the Dodgers.
Peterson has a 900 OPS against these guys in his career. So yes, I'm kind of making a case for the Dodgers, but I'm not trying to. I think it will either go over or the Dodgers team total will go over.
Yeah, tends to not be very hard to make a case for the Dodgers. It's just a matter of is the price playable or not. I would lean toward this being maybe a little bit of value on the Mets, but again, it is scary to click submit when you're when the Dodgers are on the other side. Let's just put it that way. Brian, I want to go to you for this one. I was wrong about Gavin Williams. I think I was right about him at first. He looked very lost when he came back from injury a season ago. He just couldn't really find his place back in that rotation. You never know when a guy comes back from injury, like how much their mechanics were messed up and stuff like that. He was a guy that I really felt like just did not look the part for like almost a full season when he came back from injury. He's looking the part right now. We have a couple of people in the chat wanting to talk Gavin Williams, wanting to talk the Cleveland Guardians. You said the other day you couldn't figure out how they're doing this. That is literally the definition of guards ball. Somewhere down the line, they're going to make another movie, Brian. They have Moneyball. The next movie might be guards ball after they win a World Series, because it is tough to explain how they're doing it. But here come the Guardians, 9-7, winning baseball games. Can they win in St. Louis tonight?
Yeah, before we get to the game, I do want to point out how things turn around in Major League Baseball. The other day, we were getting tweets on how could you go against the Houston Astros? They're the best team in baseball. Well, they've gone bad. A lot of teams, Seattle starting finally to win now. A lot of the teams everybody loved early on have done bad now. The Sacramento A's are just the opposite. Oh, the A's teams, they're terrible. Well, they go out and I think they won 4 straight. It's a long season. Don't let the small sample sizes get in your way when you're handicapping. Gavin Williams is a guy. It amazes to me how he has so much success. He throws the ball up high, and I guess it looks like a balloon because he gets a lot of guys to swing and miss on those high fastballs. If I was betting for against Cleveland, I may not even swing unless it was right down the middle until I get 2 strikes on me because of his walks. He continues to walk too many batters. And anytime you're walking batters, you're putting players on. You can stand up there and not even bring a bat half the time, and you can get that walk against Williams. That's what makes him a poor favorite in my regard. It's a small favorite in this one. Is St. Louis has come back a little bit. I like Leahy, and he has not pitched very well. Liberatore has, though. He's done very well. He's a lefty, and you would have never believed this, but going into yesterday's game against Chris Sale, Cleveland was, I believe, 7-0 against left-handers this year. I remember many times where Cleveland has been so bad against lefties that they were like an automatic out. If the total number was 3 for their team total, you like the under. So a little bit different lineup this year in that regard. Liberatore I like, but Williams I think is still a little bit better than Liberatore. But Cleveland gets crushed 2 out of 3 games in Atlanta, and they're still a road favorite here. I don't know what to make of this one. Just like typical Cleveland anymore. Every time I like Cleveland, I like them to score off of a sale yesterday, and I think the team total was only like 2.5. Nope, they only get 1 run on a home run. So I'll be passing on this one.
Tokyo Brandon, I want to bring Steve Duke's comment up because it's funny to read, but I also think he may have just described this series in a nutshell. Because I kind of was coming into the season, I said, man, the Guardians are going to be bad this year. And a lot of people were like, St. Louis is going to be really bad. Like, that's a bottom 5 roster on paper. Now, Brian's been kind of right about them. Hey, like they, this is an organization that typically wins. They might be a little bit better than you think. Steve says, man, St. Louis might suck this year. I don't know. Trigg says, man, the Guardians should suck this year, but they keep winning games. But then again, last night was kind of like, or this weekend maybe was them coming back to earth a little bit, as Brian said, blown out a couple times. So TB, are we going to find out who sucks less in this series? And do you lean one way or the other on these 2 teams? Do you think one of these teams is just way worse than they've shown? Because they both have winning records coming into this game.
Exactly. Take a screenshot of that. As I say to my friends in fantasy football when they beat me, I say, take a screenshot because it's not going to last very long. So I don't think either one of these teams are going to have a winning record at the end of the season. But I like Liberatore today, especially in this matchup at home against this lineup that's struggling to put runs up. St. Louis bullpen is a train wreck. Liberatore actually have him ranked really low. I have him on a curve of 30, ranked 22, but I like him today. So I'm going to look somehow to back the Cleveland team total under somehow, whether it's first 5 or whether it's full game, because I think he's going to shut them down pretty good. When the bullpen comes in, it's Katie bar the door. But as far as he's in the game, I think he matches up really well against these bats today. And no, Cleveland's not in a cold spot. So, but it's a bad matchup for them, in my opinion. So I'm going to look some way for an under or for him to shut them down a little bit.
That's our guy, Carmine Bianco in the chat, trying to hype us up, saying, hit that like button. Yeah, hit that like button. You can catch Carmine on Puck Time with Bryan Leonard. I believe that's 11 a.m. Eastern right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. So after this game, go do what you got to do so then you can come back at 11 a.m. and watch the boys on Puck Time. As far as listen, I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. Gavin Williams looks awesome. He looks so good when he's out there. And I think if you were to talk about, I actually think the Guardians winning games is for long-term this year is more believable than the Cardinals. I'm more in on this start for the Guardians being what they might look like this year than the I still could kind of see the Cardinals regressing to a bottom 10 team in the league. Whereas the Guardians, they just do so many things, so many little things. They win in the margins just about as good as any team in the league. They've got a power hitter now in Chase DeLauter that, I didn't expect him to be as good as he is. And they've kind of been able to generate offense without Ramirez and Kwan being off to just insane starts. They have more at AAA than I expected, especially in their lineup. Maybe I don't know that Travis Bazzana is ready to be a big leaguer, but the point is Bazzana, Engel, Valera's still down there. They have more than I expected. They're just a better team than I thought. And then I look at the Savant page for Gavin Williams, Bryan Leonard, it's all red. Aside from maybe a walk here or there, and maybe he gives up a hard hit every once in a while, looks pretty good. I think I lean the Guardians here. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I just want to point out St. Louis's offense, WRC plus on the season is 95. Now, that's less than league average, which is 100. But it's still better than the Yankees, the Phillies, the Mets, the Red Sox, and the A's. Those are the next teams behind them. And those are all teams we assume have great offenses. So St. Louis may be very much like Cleveland does. They find ways to win. The pitching staff, I didn't care for too much coming into the season, but overall they pitched pretty well. I do like the hitters, and they've got some guys in the minors that could be coming up who I like even better. So I'm still a buyer on St. Louis, but in this game, it's tough to back either team, at least to me.
Brian, we have a 2 out of 3 epidemic on this show so far in the show parlay. We keep hitting 2 of 3. I still think we're giving out great info that should be helping you win, but we do need to rattle off a couple winners in the parlay. So I'm going to throw it back to you, Brian. Do you know where you want to head for the parlay today?
I'm not loving the card.
You can hand it off to TB and let him go first.
Let him go first. Let him go
ahead,
first.
TB.
Well, Brian's thinking, but speaking of 2 of 3, you can get 2 of 3 of us for 3 days on a double play special at WagerTalk.com. 2 of us, 3 of the best handicappers on earth. You can pick 2 of your choice for 3 days of full access, including all 5% plays in baseball. So I think I'm going to go with the Braves here in mine. Perez has been just absolutely thrashed by these batters. The Braves just clobbering people, putting up massive numbers, including yesterday. And Holmes performing pretty well. Braves at home, looking good, 6-3. Marlins 1-5 on the road. And I think Perez is going to get smashed. So give me the Braves on the money line for my leg of the parlay, where right now it's minus 150 to 160 in the middle there.
Yeah, I think I see plenty of 150s on that one, that we can go 150 on that.
I'll take it.
Brian, the Braves, and you can give us your parlay leg, but if you want to throw some thoughts out on this game, I'll just say that the Braves, I think, are a team I'm definitely buying stock on. They're doing this pretty banged up. They look great. They're going to get reinforcements as the season goes on. And you want to talk about another team that's got some arms down at AAA. They've got a couple good ones they're sitting on. Like that's another team that I think I'm as impressed with the Braves so far in this very short sample early going relative to what I thought they would be coming into the season. Because you got to remember, right before the season, Strider goes down. They've got, kind of some issues. They've answered all the questions for me. I think this team's pretty good, and can't really argue with Tokyo Brandon there. Go ahead, and you want to throw anything out on that game and then go right into your parlay league.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out at the end of the season, when they get back some of these guys that have been hurt, and Strider's not even back yet. So they've got like 3 guys that are hurt, 3 or 4 guys that are hurt that should maybe back at the end of the season, plus Fuentes, they'll be coming back pretty soon. They've got a couple other guys down there. So the Atlanta pitching staff will be fresh and reloaded by the time the playoffs come. So if you can find Atlanta, and I'm not a huge Atlanta fan, but they're going to be much better at the end of the season than they are right now. I may end up passing on today's card, but I do want to give out a play here. So we're going to use the Boston Red Sox. Crochet's on the mound against Bailey Ober for Minnesota. Minnesota is playing pretty well right now. They may be in first place right now, but Ober's stats and his outcomes have been more impressive than what his stats have been. And Garrett Crochet's the ace. I've got him as the 3rd best pitcher in Major League Baseball. And he's coming off a couple starts, which he didn't pitch as well as he wanted to. And he even talked about that. And so the Minnesota bats, I don't think are very good. Obviously, their 3rd baseman got hurt again. He will not be in the lineup. He's down for the first time for probably 5 or 6 IL appearances on the season. But I like Boston in this game, and the price is a little high. You're looking in the 160 to 170 range. I'm seeing a 157 out there, but mostly let's go 165 on that. I'm not a big believer in just because it's a parlay, you play a higher number, but I don't really like the card today. And not a lot of people can get that nerfy I talked about earlier in the telecast here. So let's go with Boston over Minnesota, and we'll go with that here.
Yeah, that's a Yerfy, Brian, a yes
Yerf.
one in the first inning. And, I think it's the first one we've ever given out on this show. So definitely watch the replay. Brian's got one in the Pirates Nats game. I think the rationale is actually very good there. If you were ever going to bet one of those, because you got to be getting plus money, right, on that with Skeens pitching, I can almost guarantee it's plus money. Yeah, I think you could find worse things to bet. A couple guys in the chat making the point. Listen, the books do a good job on Mondays because it's a new series. So, and the games end early on Sunday, and it's typically a shorter card. I find that to be the case. Like Mondays, always the lines tend to be pretty tight. It's hard to find a ton of value on a Monday. That being said, I don't know if it's going to be a 4 or 5%er, but I've got one in the crosshairs for today. I haven't put it up yet because I'm just kind of waiting for the market to take shape, which tends to happen in the 10 or 11 a.m. hour. And, if I can get an extra 5 cents, it's worth it. So keep an eye on that. As Tokyo Brandon has said a couple times in the show so far, we have a great special. You pick two, and then on a day like today, like if I were to have the 5%er, or even if it's a 4%, best bet, which goes for $25 on the site, it pays for itself pretty quickly. A couple of those plays mixed in there, and then you get two of us instead of one. Someone in the chat was like, in the world, ? Because Tokyo Brandon said we're 3 of the best in the world. I don't know. I think we're up there.
We're around the world. He's in Japan. We're in the United States.
He's in Japan. Yeah.
He is the best, handicapper, baseball handicapper in Japan. What do you think, Tokyo?
Yeah, since gambling is not legal in Japan, there probably aren't many handicappers here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the green jacket on, an absolute champion over there. Yeah, no, listen, what are you on? Like a 12-1 run? I think I was
on a 12-0 run until yesterday. Yeah, and I've been number one in profit at WagerTalk 3 of the last 5 years. So, look, if WagerTalk's one of the best capper companies in the world, then I think the 3 of us, Brian's the all-time baseball winningest capper at WagerTalk as well. So, I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say we're 3 of the best in the world.
I think I'm like 12-4. I think I'm like 12-4 in my last.
The best
the point is,
I guarantee it.
The point is, we're trying to come here, give you 45 minutes of solid info. If you think it helps, then the way to reciprocate, buy one of our packages, because that is how we stay employed. That's how we get paid. So it's much appreciated when you do. If you don't, it's no big deal. We still appreciate having you guys here. You can also help by hitting the like, the subscribe, just jump in with a comment. If we missed a game that you wanted to talk about, chances are one of the 3 of us will jump in to the comments and get you that way. We try to check throughout the day on the YouTube replay. So head on over to the comments and drop us a line in there. As far as like a best bet, well, I guess you know what? We're getting near the end of the show. We've talked about my best bet already. I'm going to go ahead and just close it out with the Pirates on the money line. I will probably beat this drum until they give me a reason not to. And you could say, oh, yesterday they choked a game away. Listen, they went to Wrigley and took 2 of 3. I still think that this Nationals team is maybe played over their heads to this point. And you want to talk about, something we didn't mention in that breakdown earlier, because I know we talked about a flat spot for the Pirates potentially, but the Nats sort of left it all out there in Milwaukee. Like they just swept the Brewers. That took a lot of effort to sweep the Brewers, right? And to do it the last 2 days, having to get saves, having to use bullpen arms. I kind of think the Nationals come back to earth this week over the course of this series in Pittsburgh. I will absolutely be looking for spots to play the Pirates. The problem is, am I going to get the price to ever play the Pirates in this series? Maybe not. Certainly not going to when Skeens is on the mound, but I can throw it in a 3-teamer, no problem. So that is, Mark Lambert says the Nats battled hard yesterday. Yeah, the Nats battled hard every single day of that series. Like that is an impressive feat, beating the Brewers 3 times. That's a very good Milwaukee Brewers team. Now they turn around and they're going to have to deal with Paul Skeens, who is still a top 3 pitcher in the sport. Minus 215. We're doing a parlay. I want to give our parlay the best chance to win. And so I'll go with the minus 215 Pirates in the parlay. Again, I will continue to double down on that thought until they give me a real reason not to. Pittsburgh Pirates are a playoff team this year, and they're going to win again tonight, and they're probably going to win tomorrow. They're probably going to win the day after that, and they might win the day after that. So talk to me in a 4 days when they're like 13-4, and then you're all going to be like, oh, the Pirates. We talked about it like 2 weeks ago. So that's going to close out the parlay today. We've got Bryan Leonard on Red Sox minus 165. I'm going to go with Pirates minus 215. Tokyo Brandon's going with Braves minus 150, a chalky parlay, but when you put all three together, it's still plus money. When you put two of us together, it's a great deal on the WagerTalk site. 2 for 1, either myself and TB, myself and Bryan Leonard, Tokyo Brandon. Those are all up on the page. Someone is putting the vomit emoji next to the 215 with the Pirates. Listen, it's a 3-teamer. I don't advise betting that one straight, but they're probably still going to win anyway. So do what you will with that. That's what I like for the parlay. That is your show.
Parlay. Minus 215 is fine for a 3-leg parlay. What are you going to bet? All minus 120s in a 3-leg? You bet minus 120 straight, not in a parlay.
David said, have you made the Pirate bet yet? Yes, I have them a couple of different ways in the National League now, so I am locked in. I did take some Pirates to win that division as well. That's more of a long shot, but hey, again, I'm high on the team. What can I say? I just look at their pitching. I see a generational superstar with Connor Griffin that hasn't hit yet. I see a guy that's been a past all-star, Marcell Ozuna, that forgot how to hit, that maybe he remembers how to hit. And Bryan Leonard has given us a yes run in the first inning on this game and pointed out that the top of that lineup is insane right now. O'Neal Cruz, OPS over 1,000. Brandon Lau's been tremendous since he's got there. Even Brian Reynolds, who was a little bit down, had a couple big hits over the weekend. So yeah, I am pro Pirates this year. Steve Duke is pro Pirates this year. Have a great day, everyone. We will see you guys in the morning for more Total Bases.